Stay savage, your boy ShinoBeenTrill, what's poppin'? So today we gonna talk about what happened in the new Boruto episode. You know, we did the review of it, so if you guys haven't seen the review, make sure you check that out. Also, there's ShinoBeenTrill shirts. You got about like 7 days left to cop those. So if you guys like to cop one, let me know. If you get one, tweet it at me. I was seeing a couple of you guys had a couple of them, and you guys tweeted at me on Twitter. So it'd be greatly appreciated if you cop the ShinoBeenTrill shirt. It's only up there for 7 days. You know, it's limited to time only. So if you guys are excited about today's video, this is a discussion video. You know, we usually do reviews, but this is gonna be back into some discussion aspects. I know a lot of people next, where's the gameplay? But look, bro, we've been discussing all type of shit. So in today's episode of Boruto, we seen a mysterious summoning basically was connected to Boruto, and there's like a whole bunch of things that connect this to Boruto and as a whole. So I want to discuss this a little bit, talk about the shadow summoning, talk about how I think it's connected to Boruto. I'm gonna tell you how, like, exactly what the fuck I think it is. I can't even get my words together because every time I think about this thing, it's just like, what the fuck am I looking at? So if you guys are excited, make sure you hit that like button, take that W, don't take that L. And with that being said, let's get into today's episode. Let's get.
Whipping all this dope up in the trap house. We fuck all you bitches at the trap house. I can't trust you, I can't give you real address. I can't trust you, I can't give you real address. It don't mean that be like Jerry Stacker. I might fall in love with my trap house.
Alright, so first off the back, boom, the sun is setting near me. My light is off. I didn't feel like cutting on no light because you know what, that's wasting electricity. We going green around this bitch. I'm talking about we saving energy, boy. We saving a life by keeping this light off. And besides, when you cut a light on in the room, it gets hot as hell. And I ain't about that shit, my AC broke. But on a real note, look, so one thing I can say with Boruto, we've been seeing a lot of different things and a lot of controversial shit that has us thinking, has us talking about a lot of different topics. So let's talk about those topics, talk about what things that have been driving us rather insane, having us think about like all type of shit. So first off with Boruto, the introduction of Boruto, you know what I'm saying, we saw Mitsuki. You know, that was one thing that we had to talk about. You know, everybody was like, who the fuck is Mitsuki? How is Orochimaru's son? Who the fuck is Orochimaru's wife? Who was the parent and shit like that? I'm not gonna spoil what happens with Mitsuki, but if you read the Naruto, not Naruto, but Mitsuki Gaiden, you basically find out about Mitsuki's story. If you watch next week's episode of Boruto, you're gonna find out about Mitsuki, which is a spoiler, but you know, it's just a synopsis because you gotta think about it. They showed Mitsuki at the end of the last episode, so it's kind of given, you know what I'm saying, they're gonna say something about Mitsuki, or maybe in the coming episodes or some shit like that. I'll keep you updated with that. But overall, so far in Boruto, we've been having a lot of controversy, a lot of talking, a lot of speculation, a lot of theories. And one thing I want to say for certain is, you know, Boruto had this mysterious eye. Now everybody always talks about this mysterious eye. Everybody trying to call it the Borugan, the Barsingan. They call it the Tenseigan. Some people call it the Byakugan. Some people saying it's a mutation of the Byakugan. Some people calling it the next level to the Byakugan, kind of like the Eternal and the Mangekyo Sharingan, something like that. Everybody has like these own little speculation, own little rumors about this. Nobody exactly know what his eye is, but one thing's for sure certain, that every time we see this mysterious chakra, this mysterious like figure that pops up, which is supposed to be that summoning, or this weird ass little diamond seal that we continue to see, that is something that uniquely connects Boruto to it. If you think about it, every time we see that eye, we see somebody getting this weird ass chakra, and every time we see that weird ass mysterious summoning that he created, or that weird ass seal associated with someone, we see them get possessed, then his eye activates, and then he can see their chakra, which, you know, they go on to some weird rapid shit. So one thing's for certain, all three of them are connected. And one thing I want to add to that is, you guys been watching, well, not really watching, but reading the manga. If you guys been reading the Boruto manga, you guys know that we're going through some stuff about the movie. It was kind of like a recap. You know, we got to see Momoshiki, we got to see him with a different form, we got to see him basically, you know, go through some stepped up shit. You know what I'm saying? It changed a little bit from how the movie was, but throughout the show, you know, we seen this play out a little bit different. We didn't see like, you know, this weird ass summoning in the manga. We didn't see like this weird ass eye appear right away. You know, they had like a whole bunch of different shit. The only time we seen was the weird eye was like way in the beginning when he was fighting against Kawaki, which is a time skip. But now we get an introduction to the eye. You know, we don't even know where this weird ass summoning come from, or this weird ass beast, which kind of everybody thinks is a snake. A lot of people believe it's a monkey, but it has like a snake tail. So it's a lot of different things that we can like portray this shit as, and there's a lot of different things that we can say it is. One thing's for certain, its body is definitely way too big to be a snake. Now, a lot of people think it's a snake, you know, I said that and shit like that, but one thing I feel like it is like a chimera. Now, one thing in Japanese culture, they call chimera a nu, and that's one thing it does give me a vibe of, because we don't get to see the rest of his body. The rest of his body is kind of shrouded in mystery. It could be something completely different, you know, but one thing I would say is like, it's definitely, it has a snake tail. That's what it looks like, because, you know, you see a tail, and then every time somebody gets possessed by this weird ass chakra, you see these different like snake figures come out, and, you know, they basically, these chakra go inside of people, and it's one of those things where it's like, you know, his body shaping is too big to be a snake, you know, it's too wide, you know, and it's like not very snaky, like, you know, so like everybody's saying it's a snake. That's something that kind of eludes me and makes me feel like it's definitely not a snake. But one thing is for certain, you know that Momoshiki gave Boruto a curse seal. The curse seal was a diamond and encrusted in the inside of his hand. Now that's in the manga. If you guys haven't been reading the manga, I apologize, but that's something you should definitely check out. But in the manga, you know, he has like this diamond curse seal, which, you know, a lot of people don't know what it is. Well, not even a lot of people, because only Sasuke and him know about it. Momoshiki know what he gives to him, but one thing's for certain, we don't know exactly what it is. But one thing for certain, we know Momoshiki talk about the transformation and the transferring of power, basically passing on their power through generations and shit like that, talking about how you can't transfer different power on. I got this from Anime Analyst, and I also remember reading this, he just reminded me of it, basically talking how Momoshiki talked to Naruto saying, you got all that power, too bad it's wasted, you can't transfer it. And one thing we know from Naruto and Sasuke was Hagoromo transferred some of his power, which was the sun and the moon seals, into Naruto and Sasuke, which, you know, that was something that, you know, he did. Now after Momoshiki was passing, he transferred in a seal into Boruto, which could be his power. But one thing, if you look at it closely, that diamond seal that's on Boruto's hand, and then you look at every time we see something happens with this beast, or we see this different figure like start to appear, or like this weird ass special summoning, we see like this diamond just start to come out of nowhere. And it's one of those things where it's like, goddamn, I'm starting to see this shit so much, and I'm starting to see that it's associated with Boruto too much to like believe it's just some random event happening. And one thing that kind of piqued my interest, I'll put it on the screen right now, one thing that I saw in this seal that kind of made me like kind of spaz out a little bit was that he had like this blue flame going around it. And now if you guys pay close attention to the beginning of Boruto, when Boruto is getting ready to fight Kawaki in the anime, not the manga, they activated their curse seals, and one thing we saw, which was from Kawaki, he had a red curse seal, you know, it kind of sparked up this red flame and then went out throughout his body. And then with Boruto, we saw the blue like looking flame, almost like this blue flare, which is the exact same kind of flare that we see go around this diamond curse seal, which, you know, it kind of makes me feel like this shit is the direct connection between that curse mark that Boruto gets. Like, I feel like Momoshiki basically gave something to him to enhance that, because if you guys don't know, you know, Boruto has a lot of Hagoromo chakra inside of him through his parents. You know, we got Naruto, which was, you know, the Ashura reincarnation, Hagoromo passing on some of his chakra to Naruto, and then Hamura passing on some of his chakra to his mother, which, you know, that's another fucking output on top of the Hyuga being like descendants of the Otsutsuki clan as well. So, you know, because they need the Byakugan in order to achieve the Tentegan. So we see a lot of different connections through that, and we see, you know, him probably already having some type of beast within him. And I was reading through the comment section of the review today, somebody said, you know, due to the fact that Boruto have all these mysterious genetics, all these mysterious beliefs, maybe Naruto or Hinata entrusted him with something, or maybe sealed something inside of him to protect him for the future, kind of like how Minato did with Naruto sealing in the nine-tailed fox. That way Naruto could take that burden and become that hero. Or it could be something to deal with prophecy. But honestly, I think that's kind of far beyond. I think it's kind of high pitch and like a little far off. But one thing I could think too is like him having all these different chakra, maybe, you know, something is haunting him, maybe something from like a different dimension that feeds off this chakra, or like exists purely because of this chakra, is like haunting Boruto, and eventually Boruto is going to be confronted by this being, and maybe he would have to like tame the being, or maybe, you know, somehow he would have to learn how to control it. Maybe this being is the source of his eye, you know, maybe it's the source of his power, because every time we see the beast or we see the chakra like associated with this beast, you know, his eye flares up and it activates. Before that, you never see any instance when his eye changes. You only see it when somebody has like this weird ass chakra or this beast is associated. And that's honestly something I was shocked about, because when we got to see him summon the beast today, we didn't see his eye change. You know, a lot of people thought maybe when he summoned the beast, maybe his eye would like go in and like connect with it or something like that. But I feel as though once he like masters his eye, or maybe tames the beast, one or the other, basically what I'm gonna say here is, if he masters his eye, you know, he can tame the beast, kind of like the Sharingan with the motherfucking Kyuubi, or like the tail beast, because people with the Sharingan can control the tail beast, right? So what if there are like some type of different beast in a different dimension, similar to the tail beast, but they are shadow beasts? They're nothing like the tail beast, but they're a lot different. Or maybe what if it's completely opposite? Like what if Momoshiki created a whole different like version of that? You know how the tail beasts were created through Hagoromo and stuff like that, and then like they separated a tree into parts. What if there was a different tree? You know, because they talk about how Momoshiki wanted to seize and go ahead and take the tree and to take the power from Kaguya and shit like that, and that's what she was basically getting her army of white Zetsu of. But what if, you know, this man had his own tree, had his own set of beasts already split up, and basically had them all over the place, you know, by them being connected with Hamura, them being connected to Torniri, them being connected to fucking Utsusuki chakra as a whole, even Hagoromo. You know, what if that later on in turn like created some type of connection between Boruto and those beasts of that dimension? Because you gotta think about it, this Utsusuki chakra goes back so far and is connected to so many different things throughout the universe and dimensions. You know, at some point I feel as though something associated would be connected to Boruto, and that was probably connected to Boruto, and one of those beasts probably seeked out Boruto's chakra thinking it was like an original Utsusuki chakra, but it might have been Boruto's chakra, and he probably wants Boruto to prove himself. That way that's why he's giving all these other creatures, or not creatures, but all these other people his chakra in order to confront Boruto, to test Boruto's abilities. And even when Boruto summoned him, you know, he was probably out there testing Boruto's ability, but Boruto couldn't handle it because we did have Konohamaru Sensei coming to his rescue. So there's a lot of different speculation with this beast. There's a lot of different things associated, but honestly I feel like it's more so connected to like the Utsusuki chakra. Maybe it's something to do with them. I feel like it's somewhere in that area. And then one thing is for certain, it is definitely connected to Boruto's eyes, as well as that seal that we see Boruto, that not really Boruto get, but the seal that pops up every time he's summoning. But that seal reminds me of the seal that Boruto gets on his palm. So I feel like somehow these four things are connected. So Momoshiki giving Boruto the seal was probably an added bonus in order for him to control this beast and maybe control his eye better. And then the eye is connected to the beast, and then the seal that shows up every time is connected to Boruto's curse mark that he gets from Momoshiki. So there's like a lot of different things, there's a lot of different ways that you could connect this shit. But honestly, it's really interesting to think about when you break it down. Just let me know your personal thoughts and your personal opinions on it. I hope you guys enjoyed this little theory video. It's kind of all over the place. It wasn't one of those theories where I wanted to directly prove a point, but I know for a fact that all these things are associated with one another, and basically I wanted to talk about it with you guys, the viewers, and I wanted to see what you guys have to say, because I definitely read the comment section and I always see what you guys are talking about. You guys have a lot of interesting things to say about Boruto, that's for certain. So let me know what you feel in the comment section below. And with that being said, my name is ShinoBeenTrill. Stay true and stay real. I hope you guys have a blessed day, and until next time, see you guys later. Bye, have a blessed day.